over the last month, I've grown significantly. And I feel like if you knew me before the last month, then the version of me that you know is completely different to the version of myself that exists now. And that has to do with a lot of reading, a lot of self introspection, a lot of cutting people off, a lot of spiritual growth. And I think in life, you get the things that you fight to get. Like, if you want to change your life, you have to be desperate to change your life. Like, it has to be the only thing on your mind. Because if you're just like, I want to change my life, but like, there's nothing you do on a daily basis that corresponds to the thought of wanting to change your life, then you're not going to change your life. Like, it's it's not really a desire, it's just a want. It's like, I guess I want to change my life, I guess I want to be better, but you're not doing anything to actively achieve or receive a better life or embody a better version of yourself that exists in the life that you want. Because you can't be the version of yourself that doesn't take accountability. You can't be the version of yourself that doesn't have discipline, that doesn't wake up every day to work towards the goals that you're trying to attain. You can't be that version of yourself that you want to be if you don't make those constant and consistent changes. I feel like even the things that you watch become really important. Like, now that I understand how what you consume and the habits that you embody affect the life that you want, I understand how I got into a depression. I watched a sad TikTok one day, and then I continued watching sad TikToks, and they felt good in my body, in the sense that, like, the feeling of like sorrow or self-pity felt so great that I wanted to continue consuming stuff that reinforced the idea that I was worth nothing, or that my life was purposeless, or that I don't deserve to be alive, or that no one will ever love me. So you keep reinforcing the idea that you don't deserve goodness in your life, and that your life is bad and you do deserve to die. So you start to feel that, and feelings are so strong. When you start to feel that, you don't want to deal with life, and you start neglecting your responsibilities, and waking up becomes a chore because sleep becomes the second death. Do you know what I mean? When you sleep all the time, you're choosing to be unconscious all the time, or choosing not to be deliberate about life all the time, because you've already chosen that you're dead, and it's not your fault. So I'm not coming from the perspective of, oh yeah, like, you really don't respect yourself, or nah. I think, like, to get to that point in life, sometimes it means you've gone through a lot. Do you know what I mean? For one video to change your perspective of life, it means you really being fed those notions about yourself. And maybe no one said, oh, you need to kill yourself, but like, maybe you'd always been looked down on, or maybe you'd always like been made to feel like you don't belong, or maybe you had been made to feel like you're some animal. So you start to feel like a failure. You start to feel not human enough. You start to feel, because you've never been accepted, that there is no place for you in this world. And think about it. If you've been made to feel there's no place for you in this world, then how can you want to live? Because it's already ingrained in your head that you don't deserve to be anywhere in this world amongst other people. You're an animal, right? So you don't deserve to be amongst other people. How could you? And so you start really, and when you've been fed negative, I don't know if rhetoric is the word, but like, if you've been fed negative messages about yourself and they stung, and that's what you got a lot, a sting becomes addictive. You start enjoying being stung, and so you start to bully yourself. You start to sting yourself. You start to hurt yourself because that's what you know to be true. You don't know what it's like to be treasured. You don't know what it's like to be honored. You don't know what it's like to be respected. And so, slowly but surely, you let go of your own respect, because if you've never been given something, then you don't know what it is. Do you know what I mean? If your self-esteem has never been molded, and you've never been taught to respect your own boundaries, because your boundaries were always violated, you start thinking that you don't deserve those boundaries, and slowly but surely your self-esteem goes down, because they're chipping away at your self-esteem. The foundation they're building for you is that you shouldn't have a self-esteem, is that you're useless, is that you're not worthy to be loved. And so you start believing, I'm not worthy to be loved. Again, if you feel that you're not worthy to be loved, how can you feel you belong in this world? How can you feel? Because love is the foundation of all, you know. And so if you're not given the love, if you're not given the nurturing, the care, you know, the hugs, the kisses, the I love yous, words of affirmation, physical touch, um, you know, if you're not given those fundamentals that increase your self-esteem, or that are meant to increase your self-esteem, then where are you to find the self-esteem? Because humans are essentially like sponges. They take what they're given. And so if they're given hatred, they start to hate themselves, because that's what they absorb as the sponge. And if you tell them constantly from when they're young that you love them, then they have a sense of self-worth, and they love themselves, and they look out for themselves, and they cherish themselves, and they honor themselves, right? So you're not in the situation that you're in because of your own doing. You're not depressed because of your own doing. You're depressed because you've been fed a false narrative. And where things started changing for me was realizing that I'm in a situation that I'm in because no one showed me love enough for me to understand what self-love is. So now I have nothing. And for me, it was the realization that I don't love myself, so I didn't have a home anymore. I became homeless. And I was like, and no one is there for me. And that realization made me realize that I'd neglected myself. And that realization made me realize that I had been neglected, therefore I neglected myself. I had been abandoned, therefore I abandoned myself. But I still took accountability for the fact that I was in this position because I didn't show love to myself. Because if I had saved money, because if I had planned ahead, you know. But when you're so used to feeling like you don't deserve to be here, you can't plan for the future, because you already have it in your head that you don't deserve to be here. Does that make sense? You can't plan for a future you don't want, you know. And so it was when I was like at the bottom, because I'd never been homeless before. But like looking back at my life, I'd always been homeless. Does that make sense? So in the sense that I'd traveled my whole life, and I never had a stable home. And I remember one day telling my mom that, look, I just want stability, you know. But I didn't desire stability enough, because I still didn't desire to live enough. So it was like, you know, those thoughts you have in your head, that small little voice that's like, you deserve stability. But because I didn't know I deserved it, I thought it was just a want. When I started understanding the things I deserved, is when I started working towards them. So like now I understand I do deserve a home. I do deserve stability. I do deserve love. I do deserve to be honored. I do deserve to be respected, you know. And so now I understand what boundaries are, and I know to assert them, right? So I don't necessarily blame people, because I think people love from the version of themselves that know how to love, and someone who knows how to love also cannot love you more than you believe you deserve to be loved. So someone could have shown me the world, could have shown me how much they love me, could have moved mountains for me. But because I didn't think I deserved to be loved, or I didn't believe, or I didn't feel that I deserved to be loved, because my foundation was taught that I'm worth nothing, and I don't deserve love, and I'm to be rejected and neglected and abandoned, I wouldn't accept that love. I would think it's overwhelming. Because think about it. If all you know is emptiness, even the word I love you, it feels like an avalanche. It feels like a tornado. You're destroying the world that I know. And so when you're not ready, and when you're not aware of the fact that you deserve it, you're going to constantly push away people who want to give it to you because it feels like a tsunami. It feels very catastrophic. So I understand, right? And I understand why you do that. I understand why I did that, right? But the people who couldn't love me because they didn't know what loving someone was. They themselves probably didn't know that they deserved to be loved, and so they projected the same thing onto someone else, you know. And maybe they loved you and just didn't know how to show it. There's so many factors. Humans are so complicated, they're so complex, so it's hard to blame anyone because everyone is living in their own hurt, and those themselves who don't think they deserve to be loved cannot love you, and they cannot show you how to be loved because they're also stuck in their own pain and sorrows and self-pity, as I was stuck in as well. So yeah, when I was at the bottom, I was like, whoa, I have no one but myself, and guess who? God. For the first time ever, I seeked God without being told to seek God. I was just like, whoa. Now, I think I need to find out who this God is, because it seems God is the only person or the only being or the only source that can love me even when I have no one. And so I started asking myself, because there are times where I'd be like disrespected and I wouldn't set boundaries because I felt like, who are you to be setting boundaries? Like I literally started, someone actually the other day, we were talking, and they'd had a post, and let me just explain the post. I just feel like I'm blasting someone, but I'm not. I just want to make an example of setting boundaries and stuff. So this person posted a post about like people loving AI, and they were essentially, I don't have my phone because it was stolen, but their idea was that this is such a bad thing to do, like it's a ludicrous idea. And I was like, it makes sense. And the perspective I was coming from was, people go through a lot, we don't know why they do this, like the best we can do is like find out. And she was like, no, these people are narcissistic, they have mental health issues, blah 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 blah. And I was like, that's a bit judgmental. And they were like, the nerve of you to say that. Guys, this wasn't text, but like I can tell a tone. So like, the nerve of you to claim I'm judgmental. And I was like, it's just facts, it's not wrong or right, but like that is a bit judgmental. And then they were like, girl, put the phone down. And I was like, no, kindly don't talk to me like that. But had this happened just a little more than a month ago, I would have just been like hurt. I would have romanticized that hurt because I was so used to being hurt, and I probably wouldn't have said anything back. Because that wasn't me fighting. That was just me being like, no, you're crossing boundaries now. You don't speak to me like that. I had never been that person because I always felt like, how can I set my boundaries? Someone's gonna be like, who do you think you are? And that whole you have the nerve was, who do you think you are? But it's like, I am who I am. I deserve to speak on something that I feel like is unjust. If I feel like something is being judged too harshly, and I was saying, look, let's just look at it from a curious perspective instead of judgmental perspective, you know? So I wasn't even fighting, you know? And so if I feel like I'm being disrespected and I state my boundary, and then you disrespect that boundary, I don't need to give you a second and a third chance. It's over. So that's another thing that you learn. Like, you learn to really respect your peace and honor yourself. And in honoring yourself, when people disrespect you, you leave them. You leave them. Because at the end of the day, I know it's me and God. Do you know what I mean? God got me. And God will direct me to the people who will love me, to the people who will respect me, to the people who will honor me, cherish me. Yeah, He's going to make a way. So I feel like this goes into like manifestation, you know. Sometimes, I don't know if it's manifestation or what, but like sometimes we feel like, oh my God, this is family, or this is a friend I've had for like 20 plus years, I can't lose them, even though you can see they're being toxic, even though they keep hurting you, and so you glorify that hurt and you stay there. But the reality is, there's like billions of people in this world. You are one person. Out of the billions of people in the world, and that one person who's hurting you, there's 999 million? I don't know. But there's like so many other people, And even if half of those people are toxic, the other half is not toxic. Do you know what I mean? Even if quarter of the people are toxic, the other 3/4 are good. Do you know what I mean? And so when you let go of this person because you can see that they're not doing any good in your life, and I do understand that other people will be like, but this is family, you've known them for so long, how can you just drop someone like that? It's not dropping them on like you think you're better than them. It's you protecting your peace. And in you protecting your peace, in you choosing yourself, God will choose you too. And He will bring people who align with you, who choose you. To choose yourself opens way for other people to choose you. To not choose yourself opens way for other people who don't choose you. And so you'll constantly find yourself begging and constantly find yourself being rejected or treated badly because you don't know your own worth. Do you understand what I mean? So you have to choose yourself, and it's not selfish and it's not narcissistic because God wouldn't want you to be around people who are constantly hurting you. And yes, people are complicated, but that doesn't mean you have to be around people who hurt you. People can be complicated and still be good people. I think I'm a very complex person, but I also think I'm a good person. And yes, I've hurt people, but the reason I know I'm a good person is because I self-reflect. And I go, did I do that wrong? And sometimes I feel guilt, but let go of guilt for cutting people off who have hurt you. And also let go of guilt for hurting people. Because if you apologize and you make sure you don't do that thing again, then all is well. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to dwell on the past, you know? So, yeah, I think in the past month, those are the things that I've learned. Like, respect yourself and you will be respected. Clear the way so that new things come in. Yeah, and if you love, honor, cherish yourself, people will love, honor, cherish you. Set boundaries because if you don't, people will keep walking all over you. Because people don't know the boundaries. So if you don't set them, they're just gonna keep. It's not because they're bad people. It is just that they see the way. You know what I mean? If there's water to be crossed, they will cross it with their dirty boots, right? Once you build a bridge and you close the gates, you only make sure that the people with clean shoes can walk there because you know that those people take care of themselves, therefore will take care of you. And that's because you take care of yourself. Thank you. I'm Piwe. Piwe Rambles. It's Piwe Rambles because I talk a lot, but I don't think I talk shit. I think I talk pretty useful stuff if you tap in. Yeah. So if you do like this video, please subscribe, please comment, please share, with your loved ones. Save it, I guess, if you liked it. Put on the notification bell if you liked it that much. I hope you did because I'm gonna make more of these, and I'm gonna try post these weekly. But I'll also have other things that I'll be posting because I'm an artist. I'm a videographer, photographer, poetry, model, hairdresser. I do it all. So I don't know. I'm excited to share all the work that I want to do. And maybe I'll make another video on how to trust yourself in the creative process. But for now, this is it. Thank you. I love you and goodbye.